Hi all of you awesome scuba divers out there, welcome to Scuba Diving Magazine, your very favourite place for the latest scuba diving news and reviews. This is Ask Mark, our scuba diving Q&A, where I do my very darndest to answer your scuba diving questions. This week I'm answering a question from Ironut Parashiv 28. I'm going to say, about diving a long-hose regulator with a recreational BCD. So Ironut Parashiv 28 says, "Hi Mark, I'm considering investing in my own set of regulators and I'm toying with the idea of customizing it for a long hose primary donate setup. The question I have is, would that be hard to route if I do not have my own BCD / backplate wing? I'm not keen on investing in those now and I'll probably travel with the regulators only for a while." Yes, it can totally be done. I'd probably use a shorter 150 centimeter hose and just tuck the lower bite into my waistband of my BCD. But yes, you can totally do it with a recreational BCD. I've just thrown this together, which is why it doesn't quite fit properly, but I don't have a recreational BCD. But what they're asking is that with a long hose primary donate, for those of you who are new to the channel, or just don't know what a long hose primary donate setup is, instead of having a traditional regulator setup where you have a short hose on your primary regulator, the black one that goes in your mouth, and then a slightly longer yellow octo version that kind of sits on your hip, you can swap out that primary hose and fit that onto a really long hose. It's either 210 centimeters or 150, normally with single cylinders. And the way it's set up is that your first stage is still where it normally is behind you. So I'm going to kind of tuck this behind my shoulders and hope it like kind of stays there somewhere. And then the hose routes down behind your right hand shoulder. It then hooks underneath something. In this case is a little bar retainer. Some divers use their dive knife or a battery pack that kind of sits on their right hand hip. Then the hose routes up across your body and then around behind your neck and then into your mouth. Now, if you don't have that like retaining bar, if I just unhook it, then this hose, especially braided hoses that are quite light and buoyant, is just going to do its own thing. And you're either going to end up with a lot of slack and it undoes itself, or it's just going to float. It's going to get in the way. So you need some way of getting it under control, keeping it so that it's nice and neat. If I try and tuck this back behind my shoulders. So what I'd probably do is just create a bite, which is just a loop really, and just tuck it under the waistband, something that's fairly tight, but in an emergency, if you do need to donate that, you can take it off and then just pull it free. If it's hooked in anywhere, that can be a little bit dangerous because you need to be able to donate it in like clear open blue water. Even with that, you still have more space than a traditional octo, but it's better to have as much hose as possible. You do see a lot of divers put that bite through a sorry, it's really noisy, these braided hoses, through a D-ring, which I'm kind of torn on. It's not the end of the world. It's still quick release. It still holds it in place. But kind of in my mind, it just allows something to be, you're clipping it off onto it and then it might like hook onto it. So if it's like a functional D-ring, something that you're clipping things off onto, I'd avoid that. But if you do have some kind of spare D-ring on your hip, you could tuck it in, just make sure that it keeps it nice and clear. But otherwise, yeah, I'd kind of tuck it under my waistband. I've done that before and it's been perfectly fine. And then you still have that extra space. And yeah, if you need to, you can pull it free. It's not a big issue for like recreational BCDs where you can't do a long hose primary donate setup. It's not really what they're designed for, but it can be done. So yeah, if you don't have a like backplate and wing setup where you can thread either a dive knife or some kind of hose retainer bar, then yeah, I'd probably put it in place so I have plenty of slack, make that bite, and then kind of tuck it in under my waistband. Just make sure it's nice and like secure. If it's really loose, then the hose is naturally just gonna do its thing and disappear just as soon as you're moving about. But if you really do like cinch that up nice and tight, then yeah, you can breathe from it. You still have the benefits. If it comes out, it's not really going too far. But if you do need to donate to your buddy, you can just pull it free and donate all of that extra hose. Just make sure that it's free to pull out. And yeah, if you do have a D-ring, I'm not too averse to doing that. Just make sure that the hose, yeah, is just nice and sort of quick release, basically. It's just going to take a little bit of experimentation, and different BCDs are going to have different opportunities for you. The most practical is, yeah, like a backplate and harness setup, so you do have that. You can thread things over the 2-inch webbing, basically. But yeah, you can still dive a recreational BCD with a long hose regulator. But yeah, so this is like I think it's 2.1 meter long hose. That can be quite a lot of excess hose when you're just diving on a single setup in like a rash vest. If you're in like dry suit and undersuit and everything, you've got all of that extra padding around you to take up the excess slack. So 150 centimeters is also pretty long. You're only taking off what, about that much or something. So yeah, you still have plenty of slack, but it's not too much loose hose that's going to end up just getting in the way. And for like clear open blue water, you don't really need the full 210 centimeters. That's really so that if you're diving in confined spaces like a shipwreck or an overhead cave system, then you have enough hose to either donate to the diver behind you, including your entire body length, or vice versa, donate to the diver in front of you, including their entire body length. In blue water, that's less frequent, so you just have enough gas or enough hose to donate to the buddy in front of you, without then getting a bit too grabby. You have a bit of breathing space, and I've always kind of preferred that. Most octo hoses are about 90 to 100 centimeters long, which you got to be really close, because considering it's to the valve behind your head, over your shoulder, the gap between you and then into their mouth, that's 1 meter, 90 centimeters doesn't really cut it. As soon as you like turn to look at something, you're just going to yank it out of their mouth. So 150 centimeters just gives you a bit extra to just kind of move and flex about. 2.1 meters gives you even much more. So yeah, I just prefer like longer hoses, but in clear blue water. Recreational diving, 150 centimeters is perfectly fine. Any other questions, by all means pop them underneath this video in the comment section. Use the #AskMark hashtag to get it featured in up and coming video, and also check to see if there are any unanswered questions down in the comment section. Get a little conversation started, and of course remember to head over to our website scubadivermag.com and subscribe to the channel here if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.